Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be looking at the Roswell mystery, the Roswell case. Now I'm the type of person that I don't like sci-fi, I don't like aliens, I don't think, when I was young, I was nothing that is not real, is not my type, right? Even if they wanted to watch a horror movie, I wasn't necessarily into horror movies, but if it was a sci-fi type, like, a lot of people, like Will Smith ones, I'd just go with like my mates to the cinema mainly for that, but it wouldn't be necessarily my cup of tea. And in the end, Will Smith always did a good job anyway, but that kind of stuff. So my take on the aliens is a bit different, and I'm going to go through that. I'm also going to go through some videos that I promised, and I want you to think whether this is a change of spiritual beliefs, this is actual proper disclosure, this is actual what your thoughts are. For me, this whole thing of green or grey aliens arriving on Earth is not quite my belief. My belief is more UFOs. There are different existence there and energies and stuff, but the whole green thing coming in to live with us is not what I see. It's like more unidentified, but yes, there is that out there. So we all see it in different ways. There's no right or wrong, so sharing our views is really important. So I wasn't aware of Roswell. I am aware that obviously there will be cases where UFOs or a landing saucer or something has arrived on the planet, etc. And this came about when I was actually looking into what I said that I wanted to cover. And I thought, I was getting that this is really something, the Roswell is going to come up again. It's going to be either brought up again where people want to look into it, or it's just a very significant case, mystery case for our current times. So the Roswell, as you might be able to guess, is actually was in America. And I just want to So debris found by the rancher in 1947 near Roswell, New Mexico, has become the basis for UFO conspiracy theories, alleging that the US military recovered a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft, okay? And this is just the foundation of it. It was initially announced as a flying disc before being identified as top secret project balloon designed to detect Soviet nuclear testing, whilst conspiracy theories allege an earlier alien spacecraft crash. Official investigations found no evidence of extraterrestrial origins. So what happened while I was channeling what I was getting through is I looked up on YouTube. I was like, let me see what this is about. But nothing was like a 10-minute video. It was like 44 minutes was the smallest amount, to an hour and a half to 2 hours, etc. And I just thought, no, I haven't got time for this, and I want to do the content of what energy I wanted to get into. And I think it might tie in very well, because when I was looking on YouTube and what I just read, which I wasn't necessarily aware of, is that there could be a lot of conspiracy and different theories out there. And so I wanted to go into the energy of what I was getting, but also what I might get now through, at the moment, like through doing this reading. If you haven't caught the 4th of July read, I would catch that, because that's a dynamic that a lot of countries are facing. It also tells you about the dynamics that you don't see going on. So it's not got many views. I don't understand. And I think a lot of people are facing issues when there's real production on something and not AI. I know that large channels are complaining. And so for me, you can imagine if they are complaining what it does to my channel. So if you like the content on the channel, do support, because if I go, it's too late to say you like the content on the channel. You understand what I'm saying? People tend to wait until the end happens before they voice something. That's not a lot of you, because I'm grateful for those that are members and enjoy the content on the channel. Having said that, there is other content coming up, so do look out for that. So what is this case really about? What I was getting is, firstly, I'm getting this right now, 1947 is the significance of what's coming up during our era right now. Okay, so what is probably going to come up, what is in the news, what things people are going to cover. I was getting that there's already a framing around this before you even see it. So, like I said, I'm not buying into the whole green E.T. that, you know, the E.T. movie where he comes down, he presses his finger and we all blend together. That's not how I see it, but I'm more on the UFO, extraterrestrial beings, objects, etc. Yes, I believe that. And we see miracles every day, so why wouldn't we see other living anatomy and things out there? I was also getting control through tech and increasing surveillance through what they were trying to control through the Roswell. And currently that is something that's coming up, an increase through control through tech and surveillance is coming up, is also what I've said in my predictions. And with that, it means tighter control on how we do transactions, what structures are being built along. While they bring out some UFO alien messaging disclosure. Okay, so what I get with that is that there's a distraction, and then using the distraction, they might backstep on the distraction and cause a different story around the distraction again, muddy the waters so you don't see exactly everything. But basically the distraction has acted as its purpose to cover the control of tech and surveillance on us, which in future is going to be tighter control on how we do transactions and what structures are being built along the way as they're doing this. Okay, so, you know, why was I get 1948 then with this as well? I don't know why I got that 1948, but it just said 1947. Okay, so maybe that's something we can look into. It seems like some claimed it was a flying disc, and so it gained obviously probably widespread attention. But I feel like this is the incident that as much as it's tried to be muddied, actually was the starting of mapping around the climate going forward for disclosures, etc. So around this, what I wanted to show you was the intention or motives of like what are the motives of the narrative given out, and the nature of it, if there is really a motive behind it. And what I was getting is confusion and illusion. That was just so bold for me. It was confusion and illusion was the motive behind it, and the narrative, mainly the narrative. And it's so that we don't see clearly. It's presented in a way that is blurry, and it blurs the reality right from the start of, you know, the Roswell, of the incident. It's got like this mask of fog, or a thread of fog around it, and it's masking the truth underneath. The messaging that was done was very polished, that it was kind of believable, and it was presented to show it's a long-lasting narrative and story, and quite solid in a way, until obviously someone bursts that bubble or is a bit of a whistleblower. So that's what I was getting with that. Now, behind the scenes is what I want to go into with some cards and tell you what I was getting, given that that was the first bit I was getting around this. Now, some of you will be Roswell experts. Can you let me know why it says 1947, but then I was also getting a 1948? Cards don't want to come out. Cards were a bit sticky. There we go. Not precise judgment. Blur it, blur it. There is a control of the narrative. Okay. That fell, and I don't know which way, but I picked it up and it's in reverse to put it up. And the Hanged Man. You can definitely see here what I'm saying. There's a blurring, and there's a King of Wands who has the motive, the narrative, okay, and it's toppled on its head, and it's hiding the Emperor from being at the front, okay, which is the control behind the scenes. But at some stage it feels stuck. It feels like there is a narrative. It feels like it's hanging in air because it's not clear, right? The sun, though, feels like, this actually reminds me of the disc probably arriving. And this is telling me that some people will swear upon what they actually saw, despite these type of people saying you didn't see that, you know, kind of gaslighting. That's what I'm getting here. The strategy seems to be tying in with what I get is to be very powerful and to control the outcomes. 10 of Wands, okay, and 2 of Cups. There's the Hierophant, okay, to control the outcomes, to cloudy your mind, cloudy what you're seeing, suppress information here at this stage, reshape the narratives according to what's needed, but reshape at a deep level, intentionally. And what is shown is completely different, and is more like a theatre play, like this Sun card, you know, sort of a theatre play. Here you've got the King of Wands hand in hand with the Hierophant, okay. The real masters behind this are toppled. So behind the scenes it's very different, and it's being actively managed and was actively managed behind the scenes. Split the deck, Ace of Pentacles, the narrative being managed, and Eight of Cups. Walk away, don't look this way, okay? And there's a flying disc. That's walking away from it. Told to look at this card for some reason. And again, it's, yeah, look, it's coming from the sky, right? So the illusion around the communication and reporting is caused intentionally, and there is illusion around it. Messages that are retracted at certain times, but there's something that's not fully lining up behind the scenes for some reason. And I don't know why I get something about, some people even tried to say it was the weather or something like that, and I don't know, but that's coming through to me. But yeah, it's not fully lined up, the messaging that they're giving, with what is actually behind the scenes and the strategy. It's a system that is controlling the narrative before and by the time it reaches the public eye. Okay. Tell me about the messaging then, even more about the messaging, because what I get around the messaging, let's see what the cards bring up. It's telling me that there's, obviously with all this, is that there's messaging that's unstable, it's very deceptive, it's also very performative, but it's polished and presented very confidently, and so you get a bit like, okay, this is a bit weird because I'm not buying it, but this seems like I should buy it. They're so confident and they're so polished, they know what they're talking about, right? We've got the Emperor, the Empress, the Ten of Pentacles, you know, the birthing of something. The Ten of Pentacles is the win on something. The Six of Swords is just moving away from it. The World is the circular, is the narrative, is the story. The Two of Pentacles, the to and froing. The Tower card, okay. The Ten of Cups, the Three of Wands, the World, sorry, the Wheel of Fortune, up and down with the story, the World card, trying to end sort of the chapter. When I look at this, it's the instability of the messaging, you know, 1 minute causing very much an unstable, but then a stable messaging, right? And, you know, it's messaged this way to stop the uncovering and further looking into the deeper layers of the truth of the extraterrestrial, what happened and what other things are around us, which this card will show very much more of what I believe, like the orbs, the lights, the objects, things that are all around us, but are, you know, maybe some of us will believe it's kind of like the aliens. So it's like headline grabbing moments, but they lack consistency and truths, and the messaging is erratic, like it's, which makes you feel like there's massive breakthroughs. So I just want a confirmation on that, and I think we're going to see similar things now, because I believe there's been a call to do UFO disclosures, or I don't know how they've worded it. So I think that could be very much the same, and people are going to be so prone to believe certain messaging. And then you have obviously podcasters who want to just sell whatever, and the conspiracy, we all like the conspiracy, or many of us do, I don't necessarily. And so the headlines are grabbing the attention, the move and the moments, but lack the consistency, the truths, and the messaging erratic, which is like breakthroughs. Can I see some cards on that, please, Spirit? Yeah, can you see there is a loss of actually seeing the truth around. Can you remember how I said this is the master professional? He's now upright, but there's a loss of seeing the true narrative, and the Tower is that erratic message. I mean, you can't get any more solid confirmation than that. And then the movement, fast movement forward. Absolutely, I think these cards line up. Secrecy and what's concealed behind the curtains is the proper power dynamics. Now, I'm going to do a video about Zionists and etc. And I'm not sure how I'm going to manage it on this platform, but we'll have to see. Obviously, everything's for entertainment purposes only. So the outcomes here tell me that it's tied to darker themes and is tied to creating and gaining through chaos, which means then power is exercised, and power that is exercised is hidden from us, so we can't see it. And so I just want us to be aware that we might be shown what it is, but it's not truly what it is at its core. Okay, that's really what I wanted to bring up around that and the themes. And I might cover a couple more of these. I'll definitely be covering things around, you know, what I said in my last video, and I believe I will cover another one around the timing of all this and how that is coming up. But I will need to channel that through, because I do think the timing of it is very significant and done on purpose. Like I said, one reason is already what I've mentioned. Now, while I was looking into some of this for the video that I'm going to do, where it's really important to tap in, because we need to see how we're going to see the messaging and where you're going to sit in your belief systems, or what messaging they're putting out there. So, you know, the timing is not an accident from what, you know, I just disclosed right at the beginning, but for other reasons, I think. Now, I did come across, and I wrote this down, so I'm going to try and find Heather Lynn, which I didn't actually watch her. I haven't looked into her properly, but there was a quote that came up, and it was really interesting. So if any of you know who Heather Lynn is, let me know. I mean, if she's passed away, it may be something that I could channel some message. But one of the quotes that I came across, which then led me to her name, is, whoever inherits the name of the next non-human intelligence story inherits the next century of religious authority. That is the prize. And so this goes back to what I want to cover, that is it going to be about is it going to be about the spiritual beliefs that is, or is it going to be changing and shaping our spiritual beliefs? Is that going to be the narrative, you know? So that's what I'm going to look into. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe. What I might do is actually pull from this Starseed Oracle, and I want to see if we can get a higher conscious message from Spirit. I'm told to pick the 7th card. No, I'm told to split the deck, but the 7th card was 23, Magical Alchemy. So innovation, ingenuity, curiosity ahead of your time. Absolutely ties in if we think about that. And alchemy has always been viewed for magical processes, isn't it? And I'm going to go into ancient books and stuff in the next video, but ancient alchemy was a practice that was usually performed in secrecy, you know, because of fear of, like, you know, being persecuted, death, DEATH, a misunderstanding of chemistry in the medieval times. So here it looks like an Asian Merlin, okay, Merlin was the ultimate alchemist. But there's definitely here medical power and scientific principles to better the lives of oneself, and through alchemy practice, even others. But then there's this ingenuity, which is ingenuous, resourceful developments, which maybe need humbling through curiosity, that could inspire generations. This is telling me that brainstorming is needed. We need to use our discernment, because there's going to be strong opinions and fascinations from everyone around the world on this. And I know this is alchemy, but it's also going to be around, it's around the UFO, it's around the magic around it, if someone wants to call it around magic. So it's really about exploring the creative intervention and deep researching. Look into those areas. Don't just take it as it is. There are unsolved elements of all these cases, and there could be questions that are brought up that need to be faced and answered, but we might not get those answers. So really, I think this card is also telling us with the 23 that things are going to be changing around this. So that was interesting that we got that card, and Spirit said specifically to split the deck there. So stay blessed, everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.